Said you'd need fairy tea, Obra Dinn. Not many eager for that job.
Lucas Pope has a real knack when it comes to turning the inane into entertainment. Back in 2013, he turned heads with his dystopian document thriller, Papers, Please, a game that lets you immerse yourself into the rollercoaster lifestyle of a passport checker for a draconian police state. Highly original and oddly gripping is a phrase that not only suits Papers, Please, but also his latest outing, Return of the Obra Dinn. This time, Pope takes us to the high seas to prove that once again, paperwork can be riveting stuff. Thought to be lost at sea for decades, the Obra Dinn mysteriously reappears along the coast of Falmouth. It's up to you, a humble insurance investigator, to explore the literal ghost ship to ensure all the missing crew members are accounted for. All 60 of them. Naturally, this sounds like a monumental task. Fortunately, you're gifted with two invaluable tools. First is the ship's logbook, a dense tome containing records of all the crew members, blueprints of the vessel, the ship's voyage route, and some handy sketches of all hands on deck. If you ever find yourself thinking, what the hell is a purser? Then the handy glossary has got your back too. Get cozy with this book. It serves as your guide to making sense of the proceedings and your main method of recording the fate of each crew member. If the logbook sounds a little dry, then the next gift, a ghostly stopwatch, will spark some real joy, since this trinket has the power to rewind time. Just point it at a corpse and it'll take you back to experience the exact instant when each unlucky soul met their maker.
Captain! Open the door! Lest we break it down and take more than those shells!
You bastards may take exactly what I give you!
A short radio play sets the scene for each grisly memory. Afterward, you're free to walk around these fatal freeze frames to inspect faces, murder weapons and corpses in an effort to figure out three things: who's died, how they died, and who killed them. Causes of death are usually pretty simple, but putting names to all of the 60 faces is the real challenge. Cross-referencing overheard names, character uniforms, and even ethnicities with the ship's log are all viable ways to uncover who's who. Perhaps the most refreshing aspect of the whole experience is how much it respects your intelligence. After a very brief tutorial, you're on your own to solve each fate in any order you please, and bona fide detective work is the only way to progress. The game offers a small but vital mercy. Whenever you get 3 fates 100% correct, the logbook will lock in these details as facts, thus eliminating any doubts you may have about the accuracy of your findings. This system provides the perfect amount of player agency, offering you ample room to make your own conclusions about each death, validating your suspicions only when you've properly sussed trios of cases. The complete lack of assistance makes solving each puzzle incredibly rewarding, and frankly, I don't think I've ever felt as smug playing a game as I have playing Obra Dinn. If you're the kind of person who showboats every time you win at Cluedo, then this game was made for you. When it all works, it really works. Conversely, running into investigation deadlock can be frustrating. Most identities become apparent in time, but a handful of them are pretty obscure to discover. That oh so amazing 3 fates mechanic can also be cheesed slightly through some good old-fashioned trial and error. Cycling through different names in the book to see what sticks is sometimes your best way to progress, but this never feels as good as solving fates using your own wit. Speed bumps like this will occur, but patience and attention to detail will eventually put you back on track. While solving cases, don't be too surprised if you find yourself enraptured in Obra Dinn's stellar presentation. Ambient sounds of creaking wood and the gentle brush of waves on the ship bow draw you into the isolated vessel. In stark contrast, memories are bursting with upbeat or chilling music, selling the energy and tone of each murderous scene. In motion, the game feels like walking through a sketchbook. Poking around each frozen scene is like wading through a second-hand memory. Though the environments are sparse and hazy, the key details of each moment is presented in perfect clarity. The visuals subconsciously serve the armchair detective style of gameplay, evoking feelings of discerning the faces of relatives while poring through faded family photo albums, or remembering names of old school chums from pictures of class lineups. If only the story was as rounded as the presentation. While it's gratifying to piece together the bigger picture of what happened to the crew, no individual character death rings as a true tragedy. Aside from a few lines of dialogue and some death gurgles, The cast is mostly silent, leaving little room to flesh them out beyond names on an insurance form. I only complain because Papers, Please found room to add a welcome dose of humanity to its people processing concept. For better and for worse, Obra Dinn's focus remains solely on solving the circumstances surrounding each character's death, and you'll push forward through to the end, not because you're emotionally invested, but to satisfy your ego. It's a rare treat to play a game that holds the player's intelligence in such high regard. Unravelling the dense, complex mysteries aboard the Obra Dinn is a consistently rewarding process that gives out exactly as much as you're willing to put into it. It's the kind of game that can only really be played once, since the puzzles only have a single solution. My advice for the best possible experience? Avoid walkthroughs and spend some quality time with your brain to ensure you savour every last second of this delectable detective game.